Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back. Welcome back to your journey to a better life. And I know I always say it, I say it every single time, but I'm just trying to remind you about this beautiful thing what you guys doing at the moment, because sometimes you probably might get, a little overwhelmed, maybe even a little anxious and stressed about so much information, so much knowledge I'm dropping on you, so many different, homeworks and practical exercises and stuff like that. And I know you need that support. So I want to give you that support by reminding you that you are doing right now the super wonderful, beautiful thing. You are on your journey to a better life, to the life of your dreams, the life which you have already kind of built the design for, and you have come up with the whole picture of what this life looks like. So now you should be more than excited, more than motivated just to go towards that life and win that life. All right? Okay, and by the way, I am very pleased to see you here, because that means that you have decided to go one step further. Right? And we were talking about the decisions last time, remember? And we figured out that decisions play a crucial role in our life. They actually can change our life forever and get us on the way towards our dream life or our miserable life. And in order to make the most right decisions out of the whole process of making a decision, we first should adopt that definition of the decision-making process, that is the process. We gotta get familiar to the process. We should not be afraid of that process, right? And we should invest enough time to actually make it as a process. And the second thing, we just want to get out of something which is not true, out of our equation, out of our, process of making this decision. And that is, we figured out, is math. So we're using math to actually make sure our decisions are precise, and they kind of give us something tangible to make our decisions around. Now, guys, let's just, overlook a little bit, get a little bit back and try to summarize what we have learned so far through the entire course. We still have so many steps in front of us to go and learn so many beautiful and new things and new strategies and habits to adopt. But let's see what we have learned so far. Well, so far we have strengthened our mind and our psychology, right? Beautiful thing. Then we learned a lot of different intangible skills, as we call them, which will help us to be successful in life. We learn how to learn properly. We learn how to deserve things. We learn how to increase our value we create for ourselves and for entire world and entire environments around us, right? We have also defined our mission statement. We have found out what are the core pillars of a good life for us, what kind of dream life we want to build. We have built the wheel of life, which we're going to be using to go and ride on to get to the dream life, right? And then we created the plan, the blueprint of our life. And now we have also learned how to make the right decisions most of the time. Guys, can you feel it? That belt, the tool belt what you have around your waist, literally is getting heavier, but at the same time you get so many strategies and so many tools in it so you can use for any circumstance in your life. You already are equipped with so many things to create the momentum for yourself. And without even that course, you can easily go, and I trust you will do that. You will decide to do that to build out the dream life out of that blueprint we recently created. How great is that? And now you probably think, okay, so if we have learned all that, what is left? Like, what is the next step? Well, today, I want to suggest you and offer you to start thinking whom we want to surround ourselves with to go and continue on the journey. What kind of people around us we want to have. And if some of you are skeptical and think what you are kind of, individual kind of warrior and you want to go alone, I would suggest you to rethink that. Because let's face it, you're gonna meet a lot of different obstacles and difficulties on the way up. And I call them our life battles. we go from the battles, right? We kind of try to win the battle. The whole life is a war, and our achievements or persuasion of the achievements, those are the little battles, right? And we can win the whole war, meaning we can win the whole life, is just by winning little battles on the way to winning the whole war, the whole life, right? And no battles and no wars were won without the team, without the people around us. As a matter of fact, anything of the consequence which has ever built were built by the team. Anything of the consequence which has ever built took a team. So we gotta create that team around ourselves. Support system, as I call it, which will be as our shield in going forward and will be our guarantee that we will never stop, we will never give up, and we will overcome any obstacles, any difficulties which we will meet on the way of, creating and building our dream life. Are you with me on that? I think we gotta do that, and I know we gotta do that. I'm gonna teach you today how to do that. And by the way, on your question of, okay, so how to do that? How do we build that team? Who is supposed to be in our team? And so on and so on and so on. I want to get you back and understand what the core of all those relationships with the team, with the people, with allies, with the friends, with the family is. And the core is our interactions with them, right? The core of relationships, of any relationships, is the interaction. Just think about it. Whatever, whenever we started to date our partners, or we met our community, or we met our colleagues at work and anything, we met anyone, that all started with the communication, with the first conversation. I call it interaction, right? And today, our goal is to learn how to interact with others in the most effective ways so we can build these deep relationships, this deep connection with that group of people or the particular person in order for them to become our allies, to become our friends, to become our team members whom we're going to be fighting with those battles on the way to get and win this war called life. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's very important. As a matter of fact, I have 2 or 3 steps within this course which we're going to go over. So it's not going to be only today's step. We're going to have a couple more steps after that where we're going to be going around that theme, because that is very important. Those people around us are super important. As I said and mentioned before, we are the average of those 5 people which we spend the most time with. So we might as well learn how to select those 5 people, how to read them, how to understand them, how to connect with them on a very deep level, right? We need all those skills, interaction skills. That is why, guys, it was kind of, big introductions today, but I think it's very important. That is why, guys, today I want to take you on this journey with me to learn how to win friends and influence people by effective interaction with them. And by the way, I literally call this step how to win friends and influence people. And yet the title I has borrowed from this wonderful book by Dale Carnegie, which called the same as title of this step, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I strongly suggest you to buy that book and to learn from that book. That book is a very big addition to all the things which we're going to be talking about today here. So after this conversation with me, you might as well just buy that book and go through that book, and then you're going to have this whole picture of how to win your friends and influence people. Okay? And by the way, this book will, teach you how to make sure people like you. This book will give you a lot of different tricks and a lot of different insights of how to behave yourself and how to actually put your ideas from your head, take your ideas in your head and put those ideas in the heads of others. It will teach you how to use your smile and so many other things. And as I said, this is a wonderful addition to this step. Please, get that book and read that book. It's going to be very beneficial to you guys. Now, it's not about the book today though. Today, we're going to be talking about the system which will help us, as I said, to interact with people on a very deep level and create this deep connection. Because if we want to connect with someone, we basically have to get into their world. We literally have to match and mirror their behavior. We gotta become very similar to them. We gotta be like them. Why do I say that? It's just because we naturally, it is instilled within us. It's in our mind, it's in our subconscious. We love and like two groups of people. First group is people who are like us. If that person is like me, I'm gonna like and love him just like that. From the first conversation, first interaction. And second group is group of the people who already became someone we want to become in the future. But these people are here right now present, and we dreaming to become that someone in the future. That is the second group. The first group is the most influential so far, by the way. So I'm going to be kind of emphasizing that first group. So if we take that in consideration that all the people, all of us, we like the people who are like us. Therefore, I say, in order to create the very efficient interaction with someone, you gotta create that feeling to someone that that person is talking to someone like that person. So you're gonna become that person whom are you talking to. And you, for that, gotta use the system, gotta use the method, gotta know how to read the person, how to understand the types of personality the person has, to then extract those same personalities, those same behavior out of yourself. And start conversation or continue conversation or keep up with interaction on that same level, with that same personality level. You know what I'm saying? And that all is wrapped around in that system, in that method, what I'm about to introduce you to today. That method will help us to analyze people, to read them, to understand the different personality types, to be able to adapt to those personality types, to be able to adapt to any other environment where we interacting with someone and become the heart of that team, the heart of that group of people we interact with. And with that, we will be able to get openness out of them, trust out of them, and we're going to be creating allies. We're going to be creating those necessary connections, those trench mate, I would even say, those friends, that support system around ourselves. Okay? All right. So how do I call that system? Well, that system called PACE. P-A-S-E. That system has first been discovered and actually, by Tai Lopez, one of my online mentors. I learned that system from him. And by the way, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of different books and a lot of different other methods which teach you what kind of, personality things and tests and methods and methodologies and ways and experiments you can perform in order to interact with people on a very deep level. But I find that particular method I'm going to be introducing you to today, well, at least for me, it was most efficient, most effective. It was very easy and simple to understand and learn. It basically took me a couple of hours to learn, and then it was very effective in action. It was very effective for me to actually use that, and literally all the people around me were my allies. I did not see anyone like an enemy, like anyone we have conflicts with. Because I learned how to understand people, how to adapt to them, and how to extract and also practice those necessary personality types I have to extract out of myself in order to use them with interaction with other people. Okay? It's basically the system where you stereotype people in attempt to understand them. You kind of become the people's person, right? Wouldn't you like to become the people's person? Okay, let's dive into it and see what kind of system is that and what it stands for. So the system basically based on 4 different personality types, and it teaches those types, it describes those types, and it teaches us how to read those types within other people, how to practice and evolve and develop those types of personalities within ourselves, and then use them to match up and mirror those other people and create the same behavior, with one and only goal: to connect with the people on the deepest level and get this connection, get this clicking thing going on. Okay? All right, so what all those letters stand for? PACE, right? Why is that PACE? Well, because P stands for practical, being practical. A stands for action. S stands for social. And E stands for emotional. So those are the four groups of people, four groups of types of personalities, I would say, not groups of people. Why? It's just because we all have all those types of personalities within us. The only question is, which of those types of personalities is stronger and which one we use the most? That one will dominate within our personality. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. But now let's define all those four types, okay? The first one, practical. So who are those people who are practical? Well, those people, they love to plan. They love structure. They love numbers. They love money. They would easily do taxes on their own. They will pay their own bills. And they like to predict things. They like everything planned out. In case it's not going according to the plan, they can become upset. And they can even procrastinate because of that. At the same time, those people a little bit slow to act, and they are not that adaptable. Remember, adaptability, one of the most important intangible skills. These people who are practical, who has this P first and it's dominant in their personality types, they are a little bit slow to act. And by the way, this group of people, they need other interactions for certainty. It gives them certainty. If they have a team around them, it gives them certainty. And I will make a lot of different examples to actually practice what the practical people are all about and how to actually interact them. But first, let's define all those four groups, okay? So that was for P, practical. Now, A, action. Who are these people? Well, these people, they are starters. They are igniters. They are like, let's go. Let's do it right away. Not necessarily that they're gonna plan something out. Sometimes they create a plan, but most of the time they just spontaneously go. They're kind of very enlightened kind of people. They're very energy driven. They like, the people who start a lot of different things, but there is the kind of the downside for this group of people is that, not a group of people, but this type of personality is that they do not finish a lot. They start a lot, but they do not finish a lot. And they need others to interact them and be around them in order to actually help them to do those things, to move all those things forward. Okay? But they are super adaptable, they are super humble because they just want to get things done. This is the group of people who likes to act, the personality type, okay? The energy type, I would even say, 4 different energy types we are going through. The third one is social. Who are those people and what kind of personality type is that? Well, obviously they're social. They need people and want to be with people just because of the people themselves. They do not have any hidden agenda whatsoever. They just like to hang out with those people. They kind of go with the flow kind of people. They are a little bit laid back and grounded. They're not in a hurry. But at the same time, sometimes they can be a little flaky and they would not stand up for themselves if they would need to and they would have to. And those kind of the downsides of this kind of personality type. And last but not least, emotional. Well, obviously, this type of personality kind of requires you to be sensitive, right? Which might be kind of on the negative side. But at the same time, this negativity maybe leaves together with with intuition. They're intuitive people. They understand others better on a deeper level. They connect with others a lot easier than other types of personalities because they analyze people, they read them, and they, bring emotions out, and they connect with people on emotional level by sharing their feelings. Okay, that is the fourth group. And obviously you can also read and find out on the internet and all other different sources that there are a lot of different personality types. But I want to talk about these four today because in my opinion, and in opinion of other mentors I learned from, those are the key types of personalities we have to adapt to and start to, simulate with others in order to get with others on the same level, on a deep level of connection. Now, as I said, those are not separate personality types which live kind of separately, meaning if I am practical, I'm only practical. I'm not emotional, I'm not social, I'm not actionable. That's not true. We, as I said, and I want to repeat that and make sure we're on the same page here and you got it. We all have all those types of personalities within us. We only now have to find which is the dominant personality, because that personality type will kind of dictate our behavior, dictate our reaction, dictate our attitude, and everything and anything what we do and act up on as the first thing what we do. Okay, but let's get to that a little bit down the line during this step. Let's make some examples. So all those four type of personalities kind of settle in and you understand it perfectly, and you understand now how to actually read those type of personalities and how to extract them out of yourself. Okay? All right. I'm going to give you a couple of examples to understand how do we interact with all different kind of personalities. Let's say and let's imagine you want to invite someone to go to the restaurant with you. And you are not, sure whether they're going to agree to go with you at all, or they're going to agree to go into that restaurant. And you want them to go, and you want them to go specifically to that restaurant. So your job right now is kind of to convince them, not push them, but interact with them in a way they first of all agree to go with you to the restaurant, and second of all, they actually go to that restaurant which you have suggested yourself. Okay, this is one case. And another case, I'm going to go in simultaneously in these two different parallels. Another case is basically from the marketing perspective. Let's say we are creating ads, we are creating the commercials, right? And we are selling motorbikes. And we want to create these Facebook ads where we want to attract the attention of our potential customers. And we're going to create this message which would kind of resonate with our potential customer, and the customer most likely will click on the link, right? We want to create this messaging with that person. So two different situations. In one, we want to make sure we convince someone to go to the restaurant with us and to go in that, particular restaurant we have selected ourselves. And second, we want to get attention from our potential customers. So what are the type of interactions should we pursue? Let's say in the first case of the restaurant, let's say we deal with the person whose letter P is first. That means that person is practical first. Then the person is maybe social, then emotional, and then actionable, right? And we all have this different sequence of those letters. I can be PACE, I can be PSEA, I can be PASE, and so on and so on, depending what kind of these personality types are stronger with us and what is the letter of them within us, how we express them in which sequence. Okay, so let's say we have met the person whose first letter is P. That person is practical. Okay, so what would be our approach to invite that person to the restaurant? And remember that description of the person. They like precision, they like plans, they like structure, they like, schedule, they like the order. So what I would do is I would call that person and I would say, hey, I want to invite you to the restaurant. By the way, today is Monday, so I think we gotta be able to schedule this meeting with you on Friday, let's say. What do you think? And by the way, I know where this restaurant is located. I have selected everything already for you. As a matter of fact, while we're talking right now, I click on the button, I just have sent an email to you with the precise address, with the location of that restaurant. I also has attached the menu, so you will be able to see what kind of food are they cooking there prior going to that restaurant. And I also send you already the invite. It should be in your calendar already, so you would not forget. And by the way, to get there, you would probably should take Uber. Don't drive it yourself. Take the Uber and they're gonna get you there as quick as possible. What are the odds that person will, get on this journey with us and will come to that restaurant and will agree to meet and will agree to go to the restaurant? Well, the odds are very big because we structured our message in a way we satisfy and we behave and we extract out of ourselves that practicality which that person is expecting, because that person is practical first, actionable or social or emotional second, third or fourth. You get this vibe? The same with this motorbike. Let's say we want to create this Facebook ad. What kind of message would we create for that practical person we want to attract? Because we know we communicate with different type of personalities. We want to touch up on the different kind of buttons. We want to push different kind of buttons to kind of cover majority, the huge audience of ours, right? So if we want to attract attention of all the practical people out there, we probably should talk about the technical specification of this motorbike. We should show, how, what are the dimension of that bike, how fast that bike can go, what is the torque, what is the cubic meters or centimeters of the engine this bike has, and so on and so on. We gotta put numbers into the place. We gotta show the technical specification, and again, that message will hook up those people who are practical because they love practicality. They're gonna fall in love with your ad because you are talking on the same language they are operating on. You know what I'm saying? You getting the vibe? Okay, awesome. Let's go further. Let's say we want to do the same thing. We want to invite someone to the restaurant and we want to target someone with our ad who are actionable, whose motto is action. They just go, they want to say, let's do it. So about the restaurant, what I would do is I would call that person and let's say it's Michael, right? And I say, hey, Mike, you know what? I know this wonderful restaurant. I've been there so many times, but I've never invited you there. This is the best food I've ever tried before, and I want to go with you tomorrow. I don't want to miss any day, miss any hour, because I think we're going to have so much great time there. Are you in? Most likely that person is going to be so excited because they want to act right away to say, yes, let's do it tomorrow. Maybe they even will offer you to do it tonight. And if you are actionable person as well, or you want to be actionable with that person right now and you want to get them out and meet with them because you maybe didn't meet them for a long time and now you want to meet with them. You really kind of waited for that so much time. You probably can be flexible and adaptable, because their adaptability is a very important skill for those actionable people. You're like, yeah, okay, that's a great idea. Let me make sure I can get the reservation for tonight and let's go tonight. Let's do it. That is the message. That is the conversation you have to maintain with this kind of people whose first letter is A. They are actionable people. Okay? What about our ad? How would we change our message in our marketing ad? Well, there we would probably get on the bike. We would get someone on the bike. We would, show how we can drift with this bike. We will show what is the speed, we can go with. And we're going to be like very actionable, maybe couple of bikes, racing each other. So we just get into the action and we probably would just, put the call to action button like, get it now, go race with us now, join us and let's drift or something like it, right? Like actionable, very active, very energized and energyful. And that most probably would trigger, those senses out of those people whose letter A is first. And they would most likely click on that kind of ad and we would hook them up and we would then start and continue conversation with them in that kind of way, in that kind of pace of theirs. Make sense? You following so far? I hope you do. The next one, social. If you want to invite social person to the restaurant, what would we do? Well, it's easy. What you do is you call them and you say, hey, let's say it's Michael again, right? I say, hey, Mike, let's go to the restaurant. Well, first of all, that restaurant is so awesome. Second of all, I'm going to send you all the details how to go there and how to get there. But third of all, I'm going to invite 2 more people to actually join us. And one of the people is my colleague from the work. You don't know that person, but I'm sure you want to meet that person. That person is something special. They crack me up every single time we meet with them. They make so beautiful and wonderful jokes. They have so strong, sense of humor, and so on and so on and so on. And then we want to invite another person, and that person actually is like very successful, a businessman, and the person is ready to share with us his or her knowledge, whoever we inviting, right? And we're just gonna get that person excited because that person, remember social, they like socialize with people. They like to be around new people. They like to meet new faces, learn new things, and so on and so on. And we would probably get yes out of that person if we would make and create that setup around this restaurant event in that particular way, where the person can easily extrapolate their S as the first letter in the system of PACE. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, not another thing, but on the other side with our Facebook ad. What do we do here? Again, it's easy. We would probably show that the bike is actually the community. We will show the big group of people who are riding bikes together, who are going together on the trips, and they all on the bike trips, right? And they all are together. They all feel happy. They all help each other. They all making campfires together. They sit at the campfires during the nighttime, and then in the morning they just sit down on their beautiful bikes, metal friends, and they just go with the flow. They go with the wind. And they're super free, and they are super happy. That person would most likely, the person whose S letter is first, meaning they're more social than actionable or practical, they're more social. Social is their strongest letter. Social is their strongest personality type. Those people most likely will click on that kind of ad, not on the practical, not on the actionable ad. Okay, so that is where we can again use that interaction, use that knowledge, use that PACE system to actually get this connection from the first try. Okay, and last but not least, emotional. How would we invite this emotional person to the restaurant and make sure they agree and make sure they would just go with us? Well, what I would do is I would call that person and I would start communicate with that person first and figure it out, like how's the day going, what kind of thing has happened with the person lately. I would also share my experience with this COVID-19 time. How do I feel? What I'm afraid about, what I'm stressing about, and things like that. I would try to get on a very personal level with that person because I want to connect with the person whose first letter is E. They are emotional first. They like to express their feelings. So with them, I might as well show my feelings. I might as well share what I feel right now at the moment because all that crisis going on, hypothetically speaking and literally speaking. How do I feel? Because how do I feel during that COVID-19 pandemia and all that stuff, what's going on around? And on that kind of conversation note, at some point as the conclusion of the conversation, I would probably invite the person to the restaurant saying, I would like to continue this kind of conversation. I would like to share more of my experience and hear your experience of how do you go through these times right now, what helps you out, what kind of holds you back, and maybe we can help each other to actually go through that difficult time and get better on the other side of it. And most likely that person would agree to go with you and will be very interested to go with you and will connect with you on the deepest level because you are opened up to them. You showed them your emotions, your feelings. Okay? On the other side, the ad, the Facebook ad. What would we do? Well, in this ad, we would probably be very active, like for the actionable people, but maybe we would add something into it. I don't know, maybe we would even, would add some, some models in there, some, sexy women who are riding the bikes, just spice it up a little bit to get those emotions out. And, those girls would just ride those bikes, they would just have fun, and they would be like so juicy. The whole scene would be so, emotionally filled with the energy and emotions and the beauty. And that would actually kind of trigger emotions from those who are first emotionally strong. Not strong, but they are emotionally kind of gifted, and they want to express their emotions first. Not the practicality, not actionable items most important for them, not the socializing, but the emotions. And with this kind of type of ad, we would easily kind of touch and target those people, and they would be hooked on this kind of message, and they would probably click on this ad. Guys, I want to show you with those examples how powerful this method is and how easy it is to read all those things within these 4 personality types, right? How easy to understand whether the person is, practical first. How easy to understand whether the person is social first, emotional first, or maybe action kind of driven first, right? And it's as soon as we do that and as soon as we understand that, we now need to extract that same thing out of ourselves, right? And therefore, we also have to work on all of those personality types within us. We want to be so skilled within all 4 of them that we can kind of, switch them on and off, depending in what kind of environment, community, and people we surround ourselves with at this particular moment of our life, or this particular moment today, let's say. You know what I'm saying? So this system is all about understanding the 4 types of personalities, using these 4 types of personalities to actually develop them within yourselves, then understanding how to read those type of personalities, from within those people you interact and communicate with, and then be able to extract that same kind of personality out of yourself, depending on what kind of personality you're dealing with in front of you. And when you are able to do that, things that drastically change. That person in front of you loves you at the first moment, at the moment when they start speaking to you. They don't even understand sometimes. It's like, damn, I love that guy, I love that girl, I don't know, but they clicking, they get me, they understand me. And they only think that just because you speak their language, you connecting with them on the deepest level by matching those personality types they are having on them as the demanding personality type. How great is that? Do you like this method already? I hope you do. But I still have to talk about some very important things related to this method. You see, it's so powerful, you can use it in negative way as well. You can take advantage of people and influence them negatively. So please be careful on using that. Today you have learned this powerful tool, and I hope you're going to be using this tool, for the better, not for the worse, to help yourself, to help people, and sincerely wanted to get on this same connection level with the people. Not fake kind of connection just to take advantage of people, but actually extrapolate that necessary emotion out of yourself, necessary energy, 1 of 4 levels of energy, and just express this energy in one way or another, depending on what kind of environment and interaction pattern you are in at that particular moment. Okay? Promise me that. Now, let's talk about the combinations. What are the best combinations of those kind of personality types? Well, it's kind of obvious. P goes very good with E, and A go very good with S. What I mean by that? So practical go together with emotional. Just imagine that. The practical guy or the girl, they kind of, down to the earth. They want to structure everything. They want to plan everything out and something like it. If someone with them is emotional, they spontaneous. They express their feelings. They kind of get this activity into the relationship, and therefore the person will kind of become too practical maybe and get on the other side of action, and they're gonna balance themselves out. It's not like the practical person not gonna stop planning, but maybe they're not gonna plan too much, and they're not gonna spend too much time and therefore procrastinate. They're gonna be planning and then getting into the action right away if they have emotional person besides them. You know what I'm saying? The second pair is A and S, right? Active and social. Again, active, they want to go, 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 go. Social, they're more laid back. They're just all calm and relaxed, like me right now. You see how I changed? Put this goal people together. You see, this is the action. I'm probably more actionable right now with you guys, right? Because I want to get this energy to you. I don't want to be too practical. I don't want to be too bored, to bore you out of your mind. Therefore, I'm trying to be practical sometimes. I kind of slow down my voice and explain you something a little bit kind of, slowly, and then I want to get your attention. I want to get you all pumped up. I kind of raise my voice a little bit, and I'm doing all these movements with my hands and everything, and I am kind of active. I am talking with you who are active guys, and then I'm talking about partnerships and relationships, and I'm trying to cover within this step and also within other steps. Remember, health, wealth, love, happiness, relationships, and all those fields of our life to kind of touch your souls, all of you, all of the four personalities, whatever strongest personality you have in first place. Make sense? That's how you kind of operate with them, and this kind of partnerships, I would say, whether it would be the family, that would be the business partners or something, that would work together the best. So, try to figure it out. What kind of partners do you have right now? What kind of family do you have right now? Obviously, you cannot get rid of the family. You don't want to get rid of the family. I'm not saying that, but just play with that. Try to pace people. But we're going to get to that. We're going to get to the homework. We're not done here yet because I have a lot of other different golden nuggets to say and tell about this system and how to use that system. If I would like to kind of, describe myself via that system, today, and this is the key word, today I feel like I am P, A, E, and S. What that means is I am practical first. I'm going to give you another example just based on myself, right? I'm practical first. I am actionable person second. Then I am emotional. And then I am social. What that means is, and why I said today, is just because, guys, not necessarily you have combination of this letter only one way and you live your life, the whole life, only with this one combination. No, that's the thing. The thing is that you yourself, on your subconscious level, depending on the environment around you, depending on the circle of those people you surround yourself with, you change those personality types and you put as a demanding one the one you feel on the subconscious level, not the conscious level, obviously. Subconscious, you don't even know about that. You put on the first, you feel you need one now to actually maybe protect yourself, or maybe to get on that same level with that person if you have this kind of intuition, right? But I want to make sure you're not doing by random fact and kind of randomly, and risk of not doing it during the times that you really need to connect with someone. But I want you to learn that system on that deep level that you can use that system and it would be efficient and effective for you 100% of your usage time, right? So that's why I want to tell you and give you that hint. You can change those letters. And you can practice those letters in different, whatever combination you need them to be for you to be the most efficient. Because that system not only helps you to read others and match and mirror others to create these deep relationships with them, but first and foremost, that system helps you also to understand yourself And when you understand yourself and you understand what the letter first for you now, you will be able to find this inner voice within yourself, which would be the most convincing to you in order to push you to do something which is uncomfortable to you. I will give you an example. If I say I am P right now, I am practical, right? And I need to start working out. Let's say I'm not exercising and I need to start to exercise. What kind of inner conversation would I have with me? Well, if I am P first, but I'm trying to say myself, hey, Igor, you gotta start working out. Dude, you gotta do that. That's so cool. That's so amazing. You're gonna be all pumped up. You're gonna have muscles and everything. That might not work because I am practical first, not actionable. Actionable is only second, so that might not be that convincing to me. So in my case, I would start probably working myself in that way. Hey, so let's just go and buy the membership in this gym. Let's figure out what kind of plans do they have. And then let's maybe buy the kind of training program so I know what to do there beforehand. And then maybe let's hire the trainer, the coach, and come there and get coached by the person who knows the structure, who can create the schedule for me, who can create the diet to me, who can send me alerts and all those stuff, technical things, numbers, structure, plan. And if I would play with myself in my head, in my mind, and go through these kind of thoughts and that kind of process, basically making the plan, making a strategy that will settle in me on the very deep level, and that would trigger me to make this decision. That is another help, another trigger, another weight to put on the weight and to benefit, another trigger to actually make that decision and make that commitment. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's very important. But I also told you that today I am P. Why did I do that? Because I said we can change this letter, and an environment can make us change these letters. I want you to change those letters, priority of those letters yourself. I was A before the whole pandemic started. I was definitely A, and I was just going into the project, into the businesses. I was making those decisions so quickly, and I was just, rolling. Let's go. Let's do it. The more, the better. As soon as the pandemic hit, I started to look around. I started to understand what should I do. I started to make plans. I thought I need to now extrapolate out of myself P the most, because I needed the strategy. I needed to analyze the world right now. How did it change? I need to understand how should I adapt, and what kind of new plan should I have in order to actually now go with the flow and actually not get out of that system and go with the system and take advantage of the system, take advantage of my changes. So for a little while, I decided to be P, and I decided to go through the strategies. I decided to go and build my plans. And for like half a year, I took a time. I started to study a lot new different things. I started to build ideas and actually build the startup companies and build the plans of how to actually start developing them. And now again, I am back to A. I want to act. I'm acting. I am going. And by the way, Better Life Academy was born this particular way. I took a time to be a P. I created the strategy, and then I became A. Back up again. And I was just, now I am driving. You probably feel that drive, feel that energy. So with that, I want to show you another level of power of that system. When you learn and practice all those personality types within you, and you can play with them on a very high level, strong level, and express them strongly, you can achieve most anything in your life, and you can adapt to any environment which you are in, and you can create this deep connection with yourself first of all, and deep connection with others, and that will understand to build any team around yourself, any support mechanism around yourself, which requires people, your allies, your partners, your lovers, your friends, your supporters, your colleagues, your community, anything which you want to have around yourself, because we are the average of all those 5 people we spend the most time with. How great is that? Okay guys, we get into the last part of this step where I want to share with you my experience, and I want to suggest you the methods of how to actually train all those letters. Meaning, if you are P, how to train yourself to become A, how to train yourself to become S, how to train yourself to become E. And by the way, I told you that I'm right now PAES, but back then, before the pandemic, I was A, P, S, and E. Meaning, not only my A and P has changed, but also my A and S has E and S has changed. My E was in the very end at first, right? And now it's the third letter. Why? It's just because I became a little more emotional, because this times of maybe uncertainty got me a little more emotional, got me a little bit worried about the whole situation which is happening in the world, and how will I thrive, and not only survive but thrive in this kind of time. So my emotions got a little bit stronger now, and therefore these emotions became the third letter, and socializing and talking to each other and communicate with each other became kind of the last part of my system. But I can bring them back in, and I can become social, I can become emotional, as you see, I can become practical or actionable, just because I know how to practice all that. It's not only given and just kind of born into us, it's that what we can create, we can evolve with, we can develop, and we can always practice non-stop and becoming even better and better and better at it. So let's take a couple of examples, and we're going to be wrapping up with this step. So if you want to train and practice practicality, if you want to be more practical, what should you do? Well, I think the answer is obvious. First, try to start to make plans. Make a plan. If you were very spontaneous and you would just, go into the weekend and just do anything on the weekend, whatever comes first, now try to plan out your weekend. See how it goes. Plan out the events on your weekend. Try to create the schedule for your weekend. Or if before that you were trying, to get all those hot deals for the travel agencies out there to get you on the trip whenever and wherever you want to go, now plan out the trip. See what you want to see when you go in that country. Learn about that country a little bit. Create the structure and go through that process of being practical. That's how you can train on daily basis. By the way, do your tax declaration, fill out the forms, do your bills, pay your bills. That requires structure, that requires attention, that requires patience, by the way. The practical people, they are more patient. Actionable people, they are impatient, they just want to go, 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 go. So if you're an actionable person, try to be practical by being more patient. Go for the structure and get yourself to work on something which requires structure, your time, being patient and focused. And that's how you will train that P, okay? The opposite is true. If you want to train A, become more actionable, become more spontaneous. Don't spend too much time on planning. If someone invites you to start up the company, maybe try to just go with the flow and decide to do that. Obviously, that is the very important decisions, and you might use that, our method of taking and making the calculated decisions, but at the same time, maybe do not spend too much time on that, just for the experimentation's sake. If you are too afraid to make such a big decisions and be spontaneous there, just come up with something else. The same the weekend, right? If you used to plan out the weekends and you always know what you're gonna do on Saturday and Sunday, don't do that now. Don't do that. Just go into the weekend. Just do the spontaneous things with your kids, with your family, if you have a family. If you're on your own, just, invite friends. Just be spontaneous. Don't plan it out. The same with your vacation. Those are just an example, guys, to give you this vibe, right? Just, go to the vacation. Don't plan it out. You're not supposed to know all the time what you're going to do there, what you're going to see there. Whenever you're going to get there, you're going to see what's happening there, and you're going to adjust yourself there. Plan and try to be more adaptable, more spontaneous, and that's how you learn to be actionable. Okay? Social. Well, get yourself out there. Maybe try to speak in public if it's possible. Schedule more meetings with your friends, more meetings at work if you have not that many sometimes, and just communicate with them. I don't want to, get overwhelmed with too many meetings and, steal time from your colleagues and partners and co-workers. But sometimes if you feel like you might get a meeting, don't be afraid of it. Just step into it and get on that meeting. go to the networking, events and communicate with people. Try to find new people. Try to meet new people on the street. If you go walking with your puppy, with your dog, and you see someone, get into the conversation. Just train that socializing skill within you, and then you will understand what that means, and you will be able to bring it out of yourself when needed, and be social with the people who are expecting you to be social, if you really want to connect with them on a deep level. Okay? And last but not least, emotional. Learn emotions. Learn how to be emotional. Start talking about your emotions. Take a look at your past. Understand what kind of things has happened in the past which you would not like to remember. Try to remember them. Try to describe them. Cry sometimes maybe. Be, vulnerable. Be, weak sometimes, and get those emotions out there when you're on your own with yourself. But also talk about your past. Talk about your dramatic maybe experiences with others. Share with others. If you feel they're ready to share with them. And that is how you actually train this emotional part within you. And then with the time, you will become more open to people. You will be willing to share your emotions. You will be willing to share your past with everyone else, and you will connect on a very deep level with those people who are emotional first, who went through those same emotions which you have went through, and they will find a lot of commonality with you, and therefore they will click with you, and they will be willing to interact and continue this relationship with you. And our goal is to establish those relationships, to make sure they are strongest as ever, and we have all those allies around ourselves who can help us, who will never forget us, who will never betray us, who will always cover our back. And we will do the same for them, obviously. We're not doing it from the selfish perspective. We're doing it from perspective of win-win. We want to develop those relationships, those partnerships in a way it is the win-win for us and for those people or the community we are interacting with. How do you like that? Again, guys, I want to say that system is powerful, and I've tried this system and I live this system. I train those skills and I use those skills with everything. I use these skills in going through the interviews. Then I talk to people. I first try to establish this personality type. I try to understand what is that first letter of that person. As soon as I'm doing that, I shift myself and I extrapolate that personality out of myself, and I try to start speaking on their language. If they're practical, I'm being practical. If they're emotional, I'm being emotional. If they are, very actionable, I'm also actionable. If they are social, I am social. I'm ready to be there for them, and I'm ready to share these things with you. But very important, do it sincerely. Don't fake it. If you don't feel like, don't do this. Be yourself. Because, from the beginning, maybe you're not yet that strong in some of those letters, in some of those personality types. And if you're trying to fake it, well, they say fake it until you make it, but the conversations and the connections with people, they're too fragile to actually fake it until you make it. So if you can not do it yet, just behave as yourself, but try to explain yourself maybe better. Try to show the person which you're actually trying to be emotional with them, trying to be practical with them, or trying to be. It's going to be enough for them just to see you trying to be on their level. You're trying to respect their conversation type and voice and vibe and energy, and that's already going to be enough to actually connect with them on at least some kind of deeper level. Not maybe the deepest, but the deeper level. Then you would just behave yourself and not match and mirror your behavior with that particular person. Okay? All right, let's resume up. Let's conclude. We never leave the scene of going through the step without concluding anything, because we cover usually a lot of different details, and I just want to make sure you start the step, you understand the journey, and when you finish, you have the structure in your head. I'm a practical person, remember? I love the structure, so I'm kind of trying to push the structure on you. Maybe some of you do not like that if you're actionable. If you're actionable, you will hear what is the homework in a second, guys. Just bear with me a little bit. So let's conclude. We learned a lot so far. We know how to make decisions. We know how to create a lot of different personalities within us. We learn a lot of tangible and intangible skills. We have a plan, and so on and so on and so on. Now, we want to establish beautiful relationships with others. We want to have a team behind us, because nothing of significance being built in our world without a team. Everything took a team. So we want to create this supporting system. And it all starts with the interaction with others. So we want to learn how to interact with others on a very effective level. And it all comes into the social skills. Interaction is the core of relationships, but the social skills is the core of all interactions. Therefore, we kind of took a little bit different and new perspective of how do we look at the social skills. In other words, we took a look at 4 different personality types we can use to actually use our social skills with others. And we want to use them with only one goal: to connect with them on a very deep level, to get into their world and match and mirror their behavior, because that will help us to actually establish really good relationships and get the most out of it. Openness, trust, credibility, fun, friendship, partnerships, and a lot of different things and goodies, as I like to call them, out of that relationships. And how to do that? By understanding what are 4 personality types out there, by understanding description of each of them, which we've gone through, by using them to read other people, by actually practicing them within us to be able to extrapolate any of them for ourselves and for others, and by actually playing with them and creating different combinations out of them based on the environment we want to adapt ourselves to, right? And we have also learned that system can help us a lot, but it can also be used to take advantage of others. And I really hope you're not going to do that, because you are not that person to do that. I don't believe you are, and I trust you. So use that system wisely. Okay? All right. And now we got into the homework. And the homework today is fun. First of all, pace yourself. It sounds kind of punish yourself, but obviously no, fun. Make it fun. Pace yourself. See what the first letter for you. See what the second one is. See what the third one is. And see what the fourth one is. It's fun process. Just describe yourself. What are you, first of all? What are you, second of all? What are you, third of all? And what are you, fourth of all? As soon as you're done doing that, now can see if that is matching to everything what you're doing right now at the moment today. Is that matching with that person who you need to be today to become the person which you need to become tomorrow? Meaning, if you want to do all those things which will bring you to the outcomes and results which you want out of life, and those actionable items which you put on the list during that exercise when we build the life design and system for yourself, for you, try to figure out whether your personality, the dominant personality within you right now, matching all those actionable items you need to do. If you are too practical right now but you want to move fast, try to practice to being more actionable person. If you are too actionable right now and you actually make a lot of mistakes because you don't think straight, you make quick decisions and stuff, practice practicality. Go through the decision making process. Take it a little bit more slowly, right? If you are too social right now maybe, and you just like to socialize and being down to earth and everything, and you kind of luck in this activity because you just, we want things done, practice that. So figure it out whether your combination at the moment is the most efficient and effective one for all those things which you want to do today. And if not, the next task is, and the next homework is, the next point of the homework is figure it out what the combination you need to be the most efficient and effective in actually pursuing all those things which you need to pursue in order to build that dream life. And write it down, put it for yourself. And then the third, start practicing it. Practice it. Become practical if you need. Become actionable if you need. Become social if you need. Become emotional if you need to do that. Okay? As soon as you've done that, then get to another letter and practice that. Don't practice everything simultaneously because you might get overwhelmed. If you think today you want to become more practical, just, focus on being more practical. And so on and so on and so on in that way. Okay? Last but not least, train that muscle of reading others using the PACE system. And how you do that? Pace your parents. You will see a lot of familiarities, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. Try to pace your parents. What is your mom? What is your dad? What kind of combination of those letters do they have? You're going to be surprised how many familiarities you might find out, right? Then pace your family, pace your relatives, pace your friends, then pace strangers. Do it all the time. Have this fun. And then, by the way, reflect and see, by understanding who your friends really are right now as personality types, who the strangers are which you're spending your time with, who the family is, how do they fit in that PACE system, and now see how did you collaborate with them? How did you interact with them? What kind of relationships did you have with them? What kind of communication language did you use with them? And whether you always were right on the money and use the most efficient way how to actually be on the same page with them, how to actually connect with them on the same level. And sometimes you might find out which you completely unsynced with all of those people, or with a lot of those. And if you feel that happening with you or your partner, let's say, with you and your kids, with you and your partners at work, with you and your co-workers, with you and community you are in, and things like that, fix it. Because now you know what you need to change. You need to change those letters. You need to change that combination, and you need to start to extract out of yourself that personality types to match that personality types of the person you want to fix relationships with. That's how powerful that system is. You can literally fix any relationships, any interactions with anyone, and get to the outcome and results what you want and what that person wants within these interactions with you. Okay? All right. That is the homework, guys. And I think that is enough out of me. That one hopefully was not that difficult and time consuming. It was quick. Well, at least for me, I don't feel like we spend a lot of time on this step, but it's good. I hope you got this beautiful breather, as I call it. You have this little pause, maybe just to take the to take a pause and just play with this fun thing before we come back to something which is more practical, let's say. This one was definitely more emotional from my side, from my perspective, more energetic, but it's just because with that energy, with those emotions, I want to, plant that seed into your mind of that PACE system. And you can do it only with emotions. I wanted to extrapolate those emotions out of you, even if you're practical, even if you're actionable person, because I wanted to touch you today on the emotional level. At the same time, I gave you enough of practicality by, for example, defining the all different types of those personalities, right? I want you to act. I gave you the homework, right? And obviously we socializing, we communicate with each other. I use my hands and everything. I try to be social. I have to be the companion that you like to be around. So I try to use all those things during today's session to not only literally explain you the things and the theory and the method and the technicality of it, but actually doing that with you while explaining the topic. I hope I was successful with that. I hope it was a ton of useful things and knowledge and those golden nuggets for you, and you're going to start using it in your life, and it will definitely change your life for the better, because we are here to change your life for the better. Remember that. Okay? All right, guys, it's enough out of me. I'm gonna meet you on the next step of your journey to a better life. Bye bye now.